is the morning show you can listen to anytime, anywhere. It's Mike Chandler along with Dr. Mark Whitlock, senior pastor at Reid Temple. And Dr. Mark, how you doing, man? You be looking fly every morning with your t-shirts, your sweatshirts. You got that old swag thing they talk about in the hood.
As you get older, you gotta dress it up, man. You got to dress it up.
I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, man. I'm coming over your digs. I know you guys have begun to repurpose some parts of your building. You've got a printing center there where you guys can print for the church and possibly clients in the future. You got a studio over there. You plan on repurposing. Dr. Mark, there are churches around the country that have these large facilities and they're beginning to repurpose them. Have you noticed that also?
They need to, man, primarily because the church is no longer just a one-use, 1 day, 2 day building. We have to make sure that the church is usable and should be used 7 days a week. Churches, these one-use properties are some of the most valuable and most underused properties in the city. So often cities will prevent churches from coming in because it's got a sole use. But once you repurpose the church and you see that not only is it a sanctuary, but it's an office building, it's a school, it's a training facility, it's a studio, it's a community development corporation. Once you see that, then that repurposing makes the building and certainly the services offered to the community a lot more valuable.
Well, I tell you what, I'm glad to see it because back in the day, you're old enough and I'm certainly old enough to remember where the church was the center of our social lives. There wasn't social services that were really meeting the needs of the African-American community. It was the church that did it.
Yeah, because, at one time, particularly years ago, Blacks were not allowed into movie theaters. And so the church would buy a movie projector, screen, or just a wall, and they would have movie night at the church. They would have social Sundays. They would have banquets at the church where we were not allowed to go to the hotel to have our events. And so the church became that place. Nothing wrong with integration. Nothing wrong with having an opportunity to go to the movies where you want. But we must also provide opportunities for people to come to the church and not only have social events, not only have movies, but also have dances. Those things that certainly populate the church and certainly serve the larger community.
And that was what the church did. Dr. Mark, you mentioned integration, which was a good thing, but it also had some adverse effects on some Black businesses. You guys just had an event for African-American businesses, small businesses at your church. Mm-hmm. It seems that right after integration took off, then some folks saw the ice water as colder over there and they stopped supporting sometimes African-American and Black businesses. Do you think that is going to change?
Always interesting how we think the grass is greener on the other side, the flour is whiter, the sugar is sweeter. Truth is, same product, same manufacturer, same opportunities. When integration did happen, particularly after Brown versus the Board of Education, 1954, we then began to see African-American communities cross the color line, and begin to shop at these stores. What happened is dollars that would normally turn over in the community, anywhere from 30 to 40 to 50 to 60%, and then they would stay in the community for hours and stay in the community for days and stay in the community for months. When the dollar stays in the community, it creates jobs. The value of property goes up. But after integration, the dollar stayed in our community a very short period of time. I get paid, and then I go over to a major company and spend money. So that means if I get paid and I go over to another company, not a company in my community, not owned by Black people, that meant that dollar, once I got paid, goes to that community. And in that community, it creates jobs. You'll find that where you spend your money is where people have jobs and where wealth is created, where things take place. What we have to learn is to go back and spend our money within our community, it creates jobs, it lowers crime, it increases the value of property. Now, we have to be competitive. In some cases, you can't buy the same product like some major Fortune 500s can buy product or make product. Small businesses have to put a little tag on it. And it's okay, because if we have to put a little bit more on it, we have to remember that it's creating jobs in our community. It's reducing crime in our community. It doesn't mean the product's any worse. It may mean the product may be 5-10% a little higher, but that's all right, because it helps the community where you live, work, and worship.
Well, that's what I want to suggest today, guys. Go out of your way to support a community business in your community. Mm-hmm. Dr. Mark, you have counseled thousands of folk over the years, thousands. And quite often, some of the things, as I've talked to you, you're faced with not being able to communicate well and not necessarily showing your appreciation for your mate, some of the people, and I've been guilty of that too. But you say that it is very important to show words of love and affection and affirmation to your mate. Tell us why that's so important.
So I'm doing a whole series at Reid Temple on relationships and the naked truth about relationships. I performed over 200 marriages, but what I'm looking at now, people aren't getting married as fast, and the divorce rate is high. So this morning, let's talk about give your mate words of affirmation. Words of affirmation is one of the 5 love languages from the book 5 Love Languages, The Secret of Love That Lasts by Gary Chapman. I've been married for 38 years, and I use this in my own home. People whose primary love language is words of affirmation appreciate when their mate gives words of affirmation by text, email, social media, or even in person. Words of affirmation means I lift you and I make you feel better about yourself coming than you did when you come in. When you communicate love and feelings for someone by simply telling them how much you appreciate them or care for them, it goes a mighty long way. It is a very simple thing to do, a very easy thing to do. It makes that person feel loved and affirmed. Here are a few love and affirming words. If your partner responds to words of encouragement, here are a few examples of positive words that you may say to express your love and affection. For instance, you can say, I love you. Another one, I need you every day. Another one, thank you for being with me. Here's one that works for me in my home. Thank you for making coffee. Thank you for making breakfast. I'm proud of you. You are a gift from God to me. Here's one that really works, particularly for my sisters who need words of affirmation. You are God's perfect size. You are God's perfect weight. Here's the last one. I appreciate everything about you. Finally, if words of love and affirmation are your love language, and I'm talking to you, if those words are the way you feel better, tell your mate, tell your partner that words of love and affirmation make you feel good. Encourage them to share kind words frequently and not just for sex or to receive a gift. I'm Dr. Mark Whitlock, Reid Temple AME Church, Prince George's County.
It's Mike Chandler along with Dr. Mark. Dr. Mark, a little bit later when you were teaching in an earlier session, you mentioned about words of affirmation. And one of the things that you hit on caught my attention is you mentioned that, guys, we need to affirm our wives. You are the perfect size, baby. You're the perfect size for me. And as Americans, we all, not just women, we all a little bit overweight. But Dr. Mark, just like those words of affirmation can lift your mate up, elevate her or elevate him, negative words can really be devastating. Touch base on that. Negative words. Negative words, and then negative websites, negative social media sites. I'm talking to these young people now, or my old folk, old men. Negative words of descending or
critical analysis of what the dress looks like, or of rows in certain places, or the side. Those don't work. Those are horrible. And then here's the big one. If you scrolling through Instagram and you know them pictures, and for some reason you didn't like them pictures of those women who are half dressed, or even worse, if you're on porn sites, no, your wife knows, because you find out easy. And they then say, I don't look like those people you're looking at. Even if you don't say anything, your actions demonstrate how you feel. Let that go. Let that go. If you love your wife, if you love your husband, the same way, sisters, y'all looking at them websites, y'all looking at them buff brothers, amen. You have God's choice for you at home. Stop going to those websites. Stop going to those social media posts, and stop thinking it's okay to say what you want to say. The biggest linebacker for my team, the Ravens, can be crippled by a negative word.
Dr. Mark Whitlock. Doc, I appreciate it so much, man. Be kind to your mate. Lift up your mate with words of affirmation. And you might be married for 38 years like Dr. Mark, and you might be around like 12 years of me and my wife, April. So that's all I got to say. Dr. Mark, thank you so much, man.
God bless you, man. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
It's the morning show you can listen to anytime, anywhere. It's Dr. Mark Whitlock along with Mike Chandler.